say, Melissa?
Excuse me, are you seeing us? Hey, goodbye.
Hello, hello.
Keep your legs behind the boat, please.
Thanks for coming to the show.
And exit to the right. We'll be watching for you.
Viva Mexico!
Remember to stay seated
Until the boat reaches the dock.
Then gather your belongings.
And exit to the right. Hey! Hasta la vista!
Thanks, Fizz. You too. Later in a week.
Awesome.
Tragical Express is at 5 p.m. There's the big hat. Okay, putting the sunglasses on again, folks, so the camera's going to shake a bit because it's hard to do this one-handed. I should go. I think our family will just block this whole aisle. The Kit Kat section.
Yeah, I know, but
Nice little restaurant here, although since they built it, it's a real bottleneck here when it's busy. But stand here and the wind's coming right off the lake here. It's kind of nice. Breeze feels a little cooler here because of that.
Oh, where's Fast Pass? No, also not that way. Yeah.
Comes in here again. I've said this before, I will say it again. This is one of those little places you can walk into. It's quiet, usually hardly anybody in it, and it's air conditioned. This is the Stave Church I'm inside of at the moment. Yes, people, there is something inside of it. Freya, the great goddess of the Vikings. Actually, I don't know if anybody gets into this, but Viking mythology is pretty cool. the big guy. They've improved this a bit since last I was here. Last time I was in here, it was getting pretty old, and they've replaced some things here, updated it a little bit. Good job. The chicken and shrimp bao bun is quite good. Buns, they give you two small ones, obviously. Wooksy spare ribs are decent, not bad alternative either. The other stuff I haven't tried. I haven't tried the chicken dumplings, but those two items are pretty good. China next. I want to take in a Chinese movie. I always do that because I like it. They're going to change it, as everybody knows. It's good. I like the Chinese movie very much. Very, very much. I always go see it. Obviously, I like it. Don't like the Canadian movie. I don't go see that, and they're changing that one again. That was changed a bunch of years ago to Martin Short, who is Canadian. They're not doing the narrating, I guess you could say. Master of ceremonies, whatever you want to call him. And it's okay, but it doesn't do much for me. Besides, I live right next door to Canada. It's just not nearly as exotic to me as China or France. So this is really a lovely, 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 lovely pavilion. It's just beautiful, inside and out. There's not a detail they miss in this place, to be honest with you. It's just lovely. Here we go. Here we go. Hi, how are you?
I'm great, how are you?
Thank you, I'm good. I always like to plant myself right in the middle of this rotunda and just show you how beautiful it is. This is just absolutely the coolest thing ever. And your voice, the voice in here carries everywhere. It's just amazing. It's truly one of the most... Anyhow, so I'm going to go up here and take a look at when the next show, what the next movie is, what time. I don't usually check out the times ahead of time very much because I'm willing to look around here for a while before the movie starts because it's such a lovely pavilion. And almost all of it's indoors. Well, the outside is beautiful, but today, there you go. Doesn't say anything about the show. I wonder if they're not doing it today. What's the deal? It doesn't show how many minutes usually on that clock-looking thing up there. They tell you how long it is to the next showing of the movie, and they have nothing up there right now, so I'm going to go check beforehand. Is this still Shanghai Disney here? Yeah, it is. Yeah, I've seen this like 100 times. I used Tomb Warriors. I mean, it's okay for one time through and say, oh, isn't that a pretty place? But I just don't get into that much. Yeah, it really is, John. I've always said that. It's China and Morocco to me as far as the best theming. I think they do the best job. Japan's pretty good too. All of them are good, but this one is special. Are you showing the film today?
The movie will be start in 3 minutes.
3 minutes?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I usually it's on that clock and I didn't see it. Thank you. Okay, she said 3 minutes the movie's going to be on. Show you some more rotunda, because this is the coolest spot in the building by far. It's just gorgeous. Even the ground level is beautiful. Columns all decorated to the max. Reason here. It all means something. It's not just up there for show, it's there to tell a story. And or express a feeling. It's quite lovely.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hello,
Ni hao. Here we go.
we say ni hao means hello. My name is Hong Yuan and I'm from Hong Kong. Reflection of China is a 40 minutes, 360 circle vision movie. In this magical journey, we visit famous sites like Tiananmen Square, Beihai Park, City. Also, we will go to Shanghai, Suzhou, Macau, and my hometown, Hong Kong, one of the most dynamic cities in the world.
So there could be anybody in here with me, about 6 people it looks like right now. It's a shame. It's a real shame. It's a great movie. Xishan. There we go. And here we go. For visual people like me, that is extremely true. Since visual is what I do. I just don't want to be in anybody's way while I'm doing this, so I'm going to come back here. Huh. It looks good. It's still around. Hi. I like to plant myself in the middle somewhere near the rear because I like to show the back screens too, so I'll be moving around in kind of a circle many times. This is in circle vision, so that's the circular movement. I don't know what they're doing with the new film here, the new movie in here. I hope it's good, but I haven't heard much about it, so all I know is they're replacing this one. Right now, I haven't heard anything about the French movie being replaced. The only thing I've heard about the French thing is that they're doing some other kind of programming in there too, not just the movie. I can't remember what it is anymore, but there's something else going to be going on in that French movie theater besides the movie, but I can't remember what. Yeah, for sure. Unless they had chairs, it's swivel chairs that moved all the way around.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, ni hao again, ni hao.
Ni hao.
Welcome to the theater. Due to the nature of the moving
By the time-
pictures, there may be times when you feel as if you are moving. Due to this reason, we provide lean wells and FEIOs. Please feel free to lean on them at any time. However, please don't sit on the well since they were not designed to support your full weight or the weight of your children. Meanwhile, if you lean, you should over to your left. As a courtesy to other guests, we suggest you that please switch off all of your electronic devices. Also, flash photography is prohibited in our theater. And now, please ready your journey in reflection of China. Thank you, 谢谢, and enjoy.
Ah, China. When one thinks of this magnificent country, one cannot help but envision the Wanli Changcheng, the Great Wall. It once stretched like a mighty dragon across 4,000 miles of China. Welcome. I am Li Bai, a poet of the Tang Dynasty, and I have returned to share with you reflections of my beloved China. Like this great wall, it winds like a road across timeless landscapes, but one can also find landscapes that are ever changing. Shanghai, a city forever reinventing itself. Vibrant, sophisticated, romantic. As Shanghai reflects modern China, historic Nanjing Road reflects modern Shanghai. Set your gaze across the Huangpu River and you will find a new China that reaches for the sky. Yet in this city of East meets West, one can still find treasures of Shanghai's stately European influence. Even in the hectic pace of modern China, there is always time for Tai Chi, a tradition that has endured for centuries. Up here on Huangshan, at the Sea of Clouds, painters and poets like myself have been inspired for generations. In China, we say, a poem in every painting, and a painting in every poem. We have had a long history. Much of it has been recorded in this fashion. However, it may be said that the history of the Chinese people is not written in ink, but with water. The mighty Yangtze River. A fellow poet once wrote, traveling against the currents of the Yangtze is more difficult than climbing to heaven. That may have been once true, but no longer. The course of this great river, through mountains and valleys, touches the lives of 500 million Chinese. There is no better example of China's harmony with water than Suzhou. This ancient city sits on the longest man-made waterway in the world. When Marco Polo traveled this way, he called Suzhou the Venice of the East. I suppose if I had traveled to Europe, they would now call Venice the Suzhou of the West. So vast is China that even within her borders are many exotic lands and contrasts. From the serenity of Heavenly Lake to the busy night market of Urumqi. Here one discovers that Xinjiang province is home to many ethnic peoples with their own unique customs and their own unique cuisines. Out here in the Gobi Desert, one still finds travelers on the ancient Silk Road. The same road that over 700 years ago brought Marco Polo to these very gates. The gates of Zhaoyuguan, the extreme western end of the Great Wall. A visit to Inner Mongolia shows us a reflection of an earlier time. Here, the nomadic people still live much as they always have. Far to the south is Yunnan province, home to many of China's national minorities. The cultures of this province are as diverse as the landscape, like the Shilin stone forest, one of nature's unique wonders. In the far northeast is Heilongjiang. Although winter here can last 6 months, the people celebrate by carving magical sculptures of ice. Macau. After 400 years, this exotic land of Portuguese charm is
Tried
once
that
more
boat?
within China's borders. Hong Kong, one of the most exciting cities on earth. A city steeped in Western culture, but still uniquely Chinese. Even Hong Kong's buildings, thrusting ever skyward, reflect the city's vitality. Hong Kong, ever on the move. Yes, the Chinese landscape changes swiftly, but one can also find enduring legacies that reflect our past. Everywhere one sees our history. Ancient treasures like the 9-dragon screen reflect our traditions. Dragons were a powerful symbol of the emperor's authority. For centuries, the tombs of China's emperors have been watched over by these remarkable warriors of terracotta and these figures of stone. And for 800 years, this intersection of 3 rivers has been protected by a silent sentinel, the giant Buddha of Lishan. One can find a living legacy of China's past in the world-famous Peking Opera. In the center of Beijing is perhaps China's greatest legacy, the Forbidden City. Imagine courtyards that could hold 100,000 members of the imperial court. sons of heaven. But today, all the world can pass through this gate. Tiananmen Square. To stand here is to stand at the heart of China. Beihai Park was once a playground for the emperor, but now it is a playground for all of China. I have brought you to a place of unique beauty called Reed Flute Cave. The same forces that shaped these pillars of stone have done a more remarkable job directly above us. The landscape of Guilin is unsurpassed in all of China. Countless artists and poets have struggled to capture the unique beauty of this region. The Li River winds like a silver snake through these scattered dragons' teeth. I once wrote, "Whoever looks on this loses himself in eternity." We have seen many reflections of China, but the true face of China can be found in our people. We have now come full circle. Sadly, that means this is where we must part. But I hope you will return to China someday. I'll wave of the hand now, and I am gone. Lowering my head, I dream that I am home. Until we meet again. 再见.
再见. Let's hope to see you all again. Please gather off your personal belongings and exit to your left. Thank you. 再见.
Beautiful.
谢谢.
Beautiful
We hope
movie.
that you have a great journey in
Beautiful
the
film.
of China. Thank you. 谢谢. 再见.
Yeah, it doesn't really, because yeah, it is a much more timeless. Indeed, it doesn't kind concentrate on a period, right? Period clothing or period, it's timeless indeed. Good description. Yeah, that's what I'm curious is what they're going to replace it with. I don't see them doing a whole lot better than that, but what do I know? If I was as smart, I'd be as freaking wealthy as the Disney Corporation. So, I'm not going to quibble. Okay. The only quibble I might have with the Chinese pavilion, the food is just, This stuff is, shopping mall stuff here. I mean, it's not terrible or anything. It's just, meh. The Chinese restaurant, sit-down restaurant, is beautiful. It is a gorgeous restaurant, but the food is just, it's better than it was a few years ago. It really is. But, here's their menu. I just can't help thinking, and I'm not an expert by any, vision of anybody's vision, but I just think they could do better. They really could do better there. But it is better than it was like 5 years ago. It was terrible. So they've certainly stepped up the game a bit, but I don't think they're anywhere near where they could be on the food. Everything else about this place, Weeping Mulberry, is remarkable. Just remarkable about this place. I mean, how can you look at it? I mean, how do you like that for an entrance, huh? To a pavilion. That's pretty impressive. I know, John. I couldn't agree more. I'm not saying the France movie couldn't, although it's a lovely film. They could use some updating. I mean, the clothing, come on, has changed a bit. So that's the problem when you film a movie like that in a specific, very specific time period. But the music's got to stay. I mean, I can't imagine. Oh, the music is why I go there, and quite frankly, because it's usually at the end of my time. I didn't have the korma chicken this year. I had it last year. It was pretty good. Wasn't bad at all. The warm Indian bread, you can't go wrong with bread ever. As far as I'm concerned, you can never go wrong with bread. They give you these dipping sauces. And there's the korma chicken picture. That's pretty good. That really was pretty good. I enjoyed that last year. But there were so many other things I wanted to try this year, and I have tried quite a few things and some really nice additions that I just didn't do that one this year. I have a couple other items I'm going to maybe try later after I'm done streaming here, if I have the time. Grab a bite, real quick bite. This nondescript Africa section, I wish they would do a country from Africa here, because so too many people just refer to Africa like it's a country. It's a continent, folks, and with a lot of countries in it. So I wish they could do that here instead of just doing a generic African thing. I guess it'll have to do for now, but I wish they would. Or a combination, maybe a couple countries, I don't know. But Seriously, there's so many countries in Africa, and they're all very much different from one another. It's not just one congenial, generic group of people. It's a lot of countries with a lot of distinctive differences. And, for instance, Egypt is part of Africa. You know, Morocco is part of it. Well, Morocco is too, yeah. But, you know, something else, you know. Some other country like Uganda or Ghana or Zimbabwe, something like that. Even South Africa, maybe. Whatever. South Africa, I think, could afford to do it, couldn't they? Good Lord. Cuisine and architecture. I don't see why they can't do that instead of this generic thing here. So the rumor is the islands are going to be used in the next presentation. And the one in 2 years, the islands are going to be used as part of the, instead of blocking your view, they're going to be part of your view, from what I hear. And I've seen them doing lots of work on them. A lot of preliminary work on the islands. Not this trip, but the last trip. Tons of work on them. First, I assume. Okay, I'm German. And I like the German pavilion, but I don't love the German pavilion. It's nice, you know. I guess I'm not that much into being German, I guess. I think that's part of the problem. Come on, you can get bratwurst anywhere. Good bratwurst, at least in Milwaukee, which is an old German town, but this is pretty typical German food here. Come on, apple strudel, really? Come on. Do better. There's some very good German cuisine that a lot of people don't know as much about, and I wish they wouldn't just go for the typical all the time here. Like some of the other countries do some daring, bold things. Some of the other booths do some very cool dishes, and Germany and I think France is like that too. They kind of go basic. What Americans think German food is, what Americans think that French food is. Yeah, the dining plan has played a real role in the, I think, in the Disney restaurants, for sure. Sit-down restaurants. Especially, I mean, it's basically one beef dish, one pork dish, one fish dish, one vegetarian dish. And, you know, and there you go. And yeah, they dumbed them down because, quite frankly, we're not very adventurous eaters here in America, so generally speaking, not to say none of us are, but generally speaking, the populace is just wants their basic stuff, you know. I'll never forget the first year I came here. We were in the Mexico restaurant because at that time we didn't know that much, and we thought it'd be cool to go to the Mexican restaurant, and it was all right, but it's really crowded all the time. But a guy 2 tables down, and 2 tables down is practically right on top of you anyhow at that restaurant, started moaning and complaining, and he said to his waiter, don't you got any American food? I said, yeah, a Mexican restaurant, think it out, dude. It's pretty funny, because back in the Eisner days, some of the restaurants were pretty adventurous, I think. Not that I was the hugest Eisner thing about food in other countries, but I agree, John. It's gotten, generally speaking, I agree with you. Yeah, the free dining especially has killed it. Italy, here's another country that goes pretty Americanized versions of Italian food kind of thing. Although they came up with this carbonara. I was surprised to see this on their menu because they usually go, this is really a good dish. I tried it. It's a very good dish. I've had it before in other restaurants, of course, but you usually don't see it at the Food and Wine Festival. I don't know if anybody's had carbonara, but it's really, really good. There's a picture of it. Cannoli. I'm really surprised they don't have a couple others. That's a switch for them. But they switched up a little bit in Italy this year, which I was happy to see. Italy, I think, has the best sightline, one of the best sightlines from the main pathway here, from the main promenade. When you look down look down into this pavilion, it's really kind of cool. It really looks like an Italian promenade, It's really kind of cool when you look down this thing. It's kind of neat. I honestly think the Via Napoli architecture added a great deal to this pavilion. Because it helps emphasize Tutto a little more. The shop, of course, that. But this is really cool looking. I like looking down the Italian. Quite lovely. So you look straight down there, and it's really nice. It's kind of reminiscent of being in Rome a little bit. It really is.
Yeah, if you just look up Wednesday to Wednesday.
Yeah, I agree, John. Yeah, this is lovely. Having been to Rome and stuff, this obviously not like it, but it's reminiscent. It touches on it. So what I'm going to do in a few minutes, my home phone is, I just got a warning that my phone is heating up here. It is a really, really hot day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop for a bite to eat somewhere. I'm going to eat, and then I'm going to turn it back on. And I'm going to go to France and finish up with the French movie and maybe a couple other things, depending. I got lots of time. But right now I want to give my phone a break a little bit. So I'm going to shut it down a little bit. My son came here last night and I always tell him, this is a great area to watch the fireworks from in Italy. And on the rail, sometimes it's a little harder to get now. But back in the day, we used to go here all the time when it wasn't used for private parties. And go on top of the bridge here. And you're above everybody and still overlooking the lagoon. Lovely view of the illuminations. So keep that in mind if you're looking for a last minute spot, because the bridge doesn't fill up until near the end usually, because everybody takes these spots first, of course, and of course those are great spots, but they're there for a while to get those. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop something to eat. What I'm going to try to do also is to catch the Voices of Liberty, if I can. That would be great. It is. It's been like this all week, Brian. News. It's been like this all week. Really, this is busier than it's been, quite frankly, because the weather's obviously not a threat anymore, and although it turned out to be quite a bit of nothing here. But See, nice breeze today too yet though. But that's all that's going today. It's really hot. So I'm going to shut down my camera for about a little bit to let it cool down a little bit, folks, okay? And maybe I'll juice her up a little bit. My battery's going down a little bit too. And I'll grab something to eat. Trust me, you don't want to watch me eat. And secondly, I'm going to turn her back on in about half hour, so I'd say, whatever. And I will resume my streaming of World Showcase. And I'll, finish up. I'd like I said, do the Voices of Liberty and the French movie. Sure. I'd really like to do that. So keep watching 5. I will be back, I promise. Thanks a lot, everybody. See you later.